Alright, today I'm going to give a better understanding and perspective of God. And when I say God, I mean the eternal one. The Messiah said, "You will be able to perform the things in which I have and work even greater wonders." What did he mean by that? He also stated, "I am in the Father, and the Father is in me." By that being said, he is denoting that God is eternal. So today, I'm going to show you how you can use nine Pacific names of God, because God is a collective, you know. And when you break down Yod Hey Vav Hey, it deals with, when you go into Kabbalah Unveiled, which I have this book right here, down here by my other books, you know, I got the whole arsenal right here. But what I'm saying is, it breaks down the divine masculine and feminine energies and showing you that God is a collective and dual in nature. You know, most people in the Western society, they correspond with God as a single, you know, but God, Elohim, is a plural, you know, meaning more than one. And it says this over and over throughout the Bible. So I'm going to break down God not in a religious sense, but in an esoteric sense of what God is eternal, what God is in spirit, you know, and how do you use, you know, these tools. These are spiritual tools, you know. What people call magic is really magneticism. What people call miracles are things that, you know, don't normally happen that much. You know, before the Messiah performed every miracle, he said thank you 3 times, which is a form of gratitude magic. And when I say magic, magneticism, which you draw to yourself, you know, by your belief in what you put out in frequency, you know, you can draw things to you like a magnet. It's called the law of attraction, you know. And when dealing with God, these are the spiritual tools you need to know, you know. And I'm going to start off with just the 9 names of God and where they came from. Just 9 of the 72. And then I'm going to go into the 10 choirs of angels and how they work in the spiritual life and setting. So right here it says, the conjuration. O ye spirits, ye I conjure by the power, wisdom, and virtue of the Spirit of God, by the uncreate divine knowledge, by the vast mercy of God, by the strength of God, by the greatness of God, by the unity of God, showing you that God is a collective. What I call Christ consciousness is the collective consciousness of the body, or the bridegroom, that all operate within this frequency, which are the elect ones, which you know in the Bible as the 144,000, which some people call the star seeds. Those that obtain the mark on their forehead and are sealed right on the pineal gland, right where the intuitive nature comes from, the third eye chakra. In the Bible, it calls it the single eye of God. It says, study this single eye and your whole being will be filled with light. But right here it says, of God, strength of God, greatness of God, and by the unity of God, and by the holy name of God, Ahaya. Most people know it. When Moses came off the mountain, he said, I am that I am. In Hebrew, that means Ahaya, Ashar, Ahaya. It says, by the holy name Ahaya, which is the root, trunk, source, and origin of all the other divine names, whence they all draw their life and their virtue, which Adam having invoked, he acquired the knowledge of all created things. I conjure ye by the invisible name Ayad, which marketh and expresseth the simplicity and the unity of the nature divine, which Abel having invoked, he deserved to escape from the hands of Cain, his brother. I conjure ye by the name of Tetragrammaton Elohim, which expresseth and signifieth the grandeur of so lofty a majesty, that Noah, having pronounced it, saved himself and protected himself with his whole household from the waters of the deluge. I conjure ye by the name of God El, strong and wonderful, which denoteth the mercy and goodness of his majesty divine, which Abraham having invoked, he was found worthy to come from the in the Chaldeans. This is Babylon. This is ancient Samaria. This is where you get your Anunnaki stories from, but we're going to do that in a whole nother lecture, because I'm going to get into it deep and more. But there's already a whole bunch of videos I put out on my YouTube channel. I don't even know if people watch the whole full videos, but I think my videos are going to gain the traction when the time is right, because I'm probably like 10 light years ahead of my time when it comes to breaking down certain knowledge or having that knowledge. When I put the knowledge out, people were just waking up, and it's still, they're still taking baby steps, and it's strange to them. But those on the higher levels, the elect ones are going to perceive the things that I'm talking about, because they were already marked and sealed with the divine spark on their foreheads. It says those that was marked with the beast will be marked on their hand. Because remember, he told the angels in Revelation, do not harm the earth or the sea until you seal my elect ones. He said those with the mark of the beast will get it on the hand, because the hand is symbolic to the works of man and those that worship the creature more than the creator. He said, I conjure ye by the name God El, strong and wonderful, that denoteth the mercy and goodness of his majesty divine, which Abraham having invoked, he was found worthy to come from the in the Chaldeans. I conjure ye by the most powerful name of Elohim Gebar, which showeth forth the strength of God, of a God all-powerful, who punisheth the crimes of the wicked, who seek out and chastise the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation, which Isaac have invoked, he was found worthy to escape from the sword of Abraham, his father. Now you see right here, it tells you that in Genesis 15, or no, in the book of Genesis, it tells you about how God is going to, this is talking about an end time judgment. That's why this name is very powerful when it comes to subduing those with wicked intentions against you, because it's already prophesied under this name what's going to happen. So right here it says, I conjure ye and exercise ye by the most holy name Eloah, by Dalah, which is a Hebrew syllable and sound, which Jacob invoked when in great trouble was found worthy to bear the name of Israel, which signifieth vanquisher of God. He was, that's why it tells you in the Bible, it calls him the supplementer. And actually, my name, my real name, James, means Yaakov in Hebrew, which means supplementer. And he was delivered from the fury of Esau, his brother. I conjure ye by the most potent name El Adonai Tezbayath, which is the God of armies, ruling in the heavens, which Joseph invoked and was found worthy to escape from the hands of his brethren. I conjure ye by the most potent name Elohim Tezbayath, which expresses piety, mercy, splendor, and knowledge of God, which Moses invoked. He was found worthy to deliver the people of Israel from Egypt, from the servitude of Pharaoh. I conjure ye by the most potent name of Shaddai, which signifieth doing good unto all, which Moses invoked, and have struck the sea, it divided into two parts in the midst of the right hand and on the left. I conjure ye by the most holy name El Chayat, which is that of the living God, through the virtue of which alliance with us. Wow. And redemption for us have been made. So it tells you when you use this name what will come about out of it. I'm telling you, start saying these names in your affirmations, daily prayers, or with an intention in mind, and see the outcome and the results that come about it. Have been made, which Moses invoked, and all the waters returned to their prior state and enveloped the Egyptians, so that no one of them escaped to carry the news into the land of Mizraim. Because Mitzrayim is actually the real name for Egypt. Egypt is just the Greek word that means Egyptos, which means the house of bondage. But Egypt in its original form is called Mitzrayim. And you know, when you go into the book of Genesis, it breaks down the lineage of Ham, Shem, and Japheth, and it tells you that Mitzrayim extended more so from the bloodline of Ham, you know, which would, in the Zondervan Combat Dictionary, would say would be the progenitor of the dark races, not the Negroes. And it tells you that the Negroes come from the line of Shem, which correlates with the magical word Shemesh, sun, the light, the sun, you know. And it tells you that Japheth will be the Isles of Gentiles. But see how I know all this stuff offhand? But look, I'm just trying to give you correlations and parables to this stuff, you know. Lastly, I conjure ye all ye rebellious spirits by the most holy name of God Adonai Melech, which Joshua invoked and stayed the course of the sun in his presence through the virtue of Mithraton. Now look, the sun, the S-U-N. What I just tell you that Shemesh means in esoteric terms in the magical books. What does it tell you in the Bible? Children of Shem. But, you know, I tell you, people can lie to you all they want, but consistencies and patterns will never lie to you. Now, here we go. It says, through the virtues of Mithraton, its principal image, and by the troops of angels which cease not to cry day and night. Now this is what it means. Kodash, 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 Adonai, Elohim, Sabaoth. That is holy, 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 Lord God of hosts. Heaven and earth are full of thy glory. And by the 10 angels who preside over the 10 Sephiroths, by whom God communicateth and extendeth his influence over lower things, which is Kether, Chokmah, Benai, Gedula, Jabra, Tiferet, Netzach, Ha, Yisad, Malkuth. I conjure ye anew, O spirits, by the name of God, and by all his marvelous work, by the heavens, by the earth, by the sea, by the depths of the abyss, and by the firmament which the very Spirit of God hath moveth, by the sun, by the stars, by the waters, by the sea, and all which they contain, by the winds, by the whirlwinds, and by the tempests, by the virtues of all herbs, plants, and stones, and stones, and stones. But they'll tell you that crystals is bad. But that's why when you see on the 12 tribe chart of Israel on the breastplates of Aaron, you see the 12 gemstones and crystals. And look right here, as it tells you, the herbs and the plants. Why does it say the herbs and the plants? Because the Bible tells you, take heed in the herbs of the earth for the healings of the nations. Herbs play a key part in natural magneticism. 4 elements, earth, water, fire, and air, which correlates to each one of you guys' zodiacs, plays a major part in this. Everybody that's here right now has a purpose, whether it be for good or bad. But how do you gain back control of your life? You wrestle not against flesh and blood, but principalities, rulers of darkness, and high and wicked places. How can no weapon formed against you prosper if you don't know how the workers of iniquity work? Everybody says, oh, if I just pray in God or just say in Jesus' name, that's it, it's done. People say, oh, my sins is forgiven when I say in Jesus' name. That's not how it works. You ever heard the saying, faith without works is dead? You got to do some work. You got to rapture yourself to that higher self, a higher state of awareness, to tap into that Christ consciousness. And that Christ consciousness is going to unlock the eternal God by way of the divine spark that is already within you. But I know I say a lot because I'm human. And guess what? I live a human life. I'm in a human vessel. You know, I am not holier than thou. God deals with the most troubled people so he can reprove them. Just like all the disciples. Why do you think they got the name disciples? Because disciple means to be disciplined. They were all bad kids, wilding out, crash out. And they was the ones that was least expected to hold the torch and carry the message. God deals with duality, so he deals with good and bad. That's why he said it's the time for peace and it's the time for war. He said, I create good and I create evil. But he and she go hand in hand between divine masculine and feminine energies. But let's get back to this because I can just go off and just go preaching to the sunset, and then people get lost where this is supposed to mean. It says, by the waters and by the seas and all which they contain, by the winds, the whirlwinds and the tempests, by the virtues of all herbs, plants and stones, by all which is in heaven, upon the earth, in all the abyss of the shades. I conjure ye anew, and I powerfully urge ye, O demons, in whichsoever part of the world ye may be, so that ye shall be unable to remain in the air, fire, water, and earth, those four elements, or in the parts of the universe, or in any pleasant place which may attract ye, but that ye come promptly to accomplish our desire in all things that we demand for your obedience. See, you are put here to subdue spirits. You control the spirits. This is what they don't want to tell you. You control them. Those spirits don't have dominion over you. Yeah, them spirits can hinder you if you let them run wild. But the moment you wake up and you figure out the nature of these spirits, that's how you can tell which spirit is on people, you know? You can tell. See, from reading these books, it's easier and easier for me to read the spirit. If you can read the spirit, you can subdue the spirit. All you got to do is certain natures. Understand how certain natures work. That's why the Bible will tell you. The Bible is written in metaphors, parables, allegories, figurative language, and it'll say stuff like, you will know them by their fruits. Because it's talking about the fruits is what you are producing. The nature of your being. You know, the consistency and pattern. Because everything revolves around the consistency and pattern. That's where the truth of everything lies. The spirit of discernment. The spirit of discernment will come upon you, which will allow you to lock in with laser, pinpoint accuracy, and focus onto something, or just spark the idea of curiosity in your mind and make you aware of it, and then you'll start to see it unfold. That's what you call channeling, but it'll have to happen while you're in a quiet space, or your prayer closet, or in the wilderness, you know. That's what you call meditation. Get it? But let's keep going. He said, I conjure ye anew by the 2 tables of the law, and by the 5 books of Moses, by the 7 burning lamps, on the candlestick of gold, before the face of the throne of the majesty of God, by the holy of holies, whereon the Kohen HaGalu was alone permitted to enter, that is to say, the high priest. I conjure ye by him who hath made the heavens and the earth, and who hath measured those heavens in the hollow of his hand, and I enclose the earth with 3 of his fingers, and enclosed the earth with 3 of his fingers, who is seated upon the cherubim and upon the seraphim, and by the cherubim, which is called the cherub, which God constituted and placed to guard the tree of life, armed with a flaming sword, after that man had been driven out of paradise. You know, a lot of people say the Garden of Eden, but the Muslims actually, they call it what it is, which is called paradise, because the Bible will tell you that heaven's supposed to come to earth. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. You can experience heaven and you're humanly formed, you know, because guess what? A lot of people are living in hell and they're humanly formed and don't even know it. And don't know how to break these chains and these curses, because everything that was meant to empower you, a force that's job was to kill, steal, and destroy and deceive the whole world, was to make you to believe that you were powerless and make you feel bad like you was doing something wrong. Put names on things to deter you away from it. Just like I always use the analogy, the cave with the skull and bones on it. If you see a cave with skull and bones on it, guess what? You don't enter. You're like, dang, that's death. That's something scary. Yeah, by way of perception to trick your brain. This is the easiest trick that's been done in humanity over time. But guess what? Not knowing on the other side of that cave is full of gold. So to block you from the gold, they project an idea on there to deter you from going into the cave. You get it? But once you thinking that what's in the cave is all bad. But then, because somebody told you this, they embedded this and programmed you to believe this, you know, so you perceive this. And by you perceiving this, it deters you, it held you back. You never reach your full potential. You closed in. A lot of people, they wrestling with God. They trying to find God. They go to church for a minute, then they back out to church for a minute, because they always know deep down inside that something is missing. It's not that church is bad, because some churches, they have that spirit. They have that balance, you know. But you are really the church. The church is within you and your congregation of people that you commune with, that are like-minded and operate on the same frequency, you know. It was never meant to be organized religion. Religion, root word is region. Region means something that is cut off or confined to a specific place or space, you know. A region, religion, keep you contained. The whole job of religion was to keep you contained, so you don't go outside the box, so you don't step into your true full potential. Because in your mind, you've been deceived to think that what will take you to those heights is bad. It makes you think it's of the devil. But the whole time, it gives the devil full control over you. Satan did deceive the whole world, which name is really not Natas or Lucifuge. It's not Lucifer. I can keep going and going and going, but let's keep getting back into it. I thank everybody that's still with me on this video. Like, share, and subscribe, please, because if you're waking up, these are things you really need to know. These ain't awareness of who you are. We all know who's who and what's what at this point. Am I right? You know, and on individual levels, I don't care where you is, you know, on a spiritual level, soul tribes, this is the time. If you got the divine spark, you know that something is different about you. You know that you seem outcasted. You know that you might seem like you're the black sheep of your family. You know that you might be different from the rest. Even if you're in other races, it's like I don't agree with them, you know. Or you know you can see the truth. The key is to see the truth in the light. It don't matter who you are, which background you come from, what ethnic group you come from. The whole point is to detach from the beast system. The system that keeps you bound in these mental and spiritual chains so you cannot get ahead. Keep planting these ideas and false narratives in your head to keep you religioned into one area of space. That's why you have all these different sectors and denominations. You know, you got different kinds of Muslims. You got all different types of Methodists, Baptists, evangelists, you know, all different types of Christians. When they say the word Christian is to be Christ-like, but ain't nobody doing nothing that's Christ-like. Christ said to be like him. You know, but y'all too busy talking about we ain't God. But Psalms 82 tells you, ye are all gods and children of the Most High. And then it tells you a couple passages before that, the Most High judges from the congregation of gods. Jesus told you was to be like him, and he told you, I am in the Father, and the Father is in me. So if you to be like him, you're supposed to adapt that same type of consciousness. That's Christ consciousness. That's what it is to be Christ-like. Look, and look at a person like me. From the perception, you'd be like, that guy looks like he's this, he's that. But that's the element of the surprise. That's how I was created in this specific image. So, you know, my job is to make people believers. My job is to watch, oversee, you know. So, you know, when the right time, you know, it's when I'm intervening. Nobody ever sees me coming. I'm always at the right place at the right time. I'm always there to narrate the story. I get more stories than TMZ. Good and bad, you know. But most people don't know how the spirit works. See, when I put those bad stories out there or those videos, y'all might see drama going on. You won't know, but that same drama bring me 500 followers overnight. So now they can get this message. You get what I'm saying? Because not all 5 of them are going to listen to the real message that I meant to put out, but out of that 5, 2. So let's say at a 10% ratio, 3 are going to get it. So that's the job. That's the job here. This is how the Most High and the Spirit works. You know, I know exactly what's going on. Because when you're when you're in the Spirit, or you're in your quiet time and alone time, you reflect on your day. You reflect on things, and you wonder, like, how did I get to this point? You know, why is these things happening? Why all of a sudden this? Or why more people don't put their attention and energy into these things, but when these things come about, you know, boom, got everybody's attention. That's my job as a watch. So I have to be in the middle of all of it. I have to play all cylinders, because this is how I get my people. This is how I seek them out. See, I make people think they're in control when they never was in control. But, you know, that's just me. But I know what's really going on. I know who's genuinely helping me. I know who's gravitating to me but can't say it. I know all of these things already. I really do. I honestly do. But let's keep this video at 30 minutes. And yeah, it says, I conjure ye anew apostates from God by him who alone hath performed great wonders by the heavenly Jerusalem. You know that new Jerusalem that's coming out the sky? That it tells you that the streets is paved in gold, and it's 4 sides and 3 entrances on each of the 4 sides for the 12 tribes of Israel. And it tells you about the each entrance being made in a crystal and a gemstone. Come on now. But don't use crystals. But and tell you right here again, you know, just like my name, New Jeru. See, nobody catches on the signs that indicated, even down to my birthday, to the 999. You know, this is all symbolic. You know, and this is how Spirit talks to you. I started to unravel my own divine codes. You know, down to angels, numbers, everything, consistencies, patterns, law of attraction. But a lot of it is working on yourself. Everybody trying to focus. The whole point of the deceiver's job is to keep everybody distracted and not on one program of frequency to be able to tap into this knowledge or this type of energy, which is knowledge of self. Some people call it God body, you know. I don't take no title on to nothing. You know why? Because I'm everything. I know I'm everything. I am in the love of all, and all love is in me. I am a part of the all, and all is a part of me. I am one with all, and all is one with me. I can succeed as a part of all. Failure is individual. I can be all that I wish in all as long as my wish is sustained within all. I am never alone. All is. I am. All can. I can. All does. I do. As above, so below. As within, so without. Now back to this. See how spirit be working on me? I love it. I be like, why me? But, I get it. Now, once you finally do get it, don't doubt it. You know? Don't think you're not good enough, even through your darkest hours, your lowest times, your hardest ships. And the key to being yourself is don't worry about the projection of others, or the perception of others and how they view you, because people are going to look at you in all lights. The whole job is to keep them confused, but at the same, not to keep them confused like a deceiver, but to keep the whole world on edge, because you're not going to know who your real friends is. You're going to know who your enemies are, but everybody's going to play a part in everything. Whether you creating a new idea within their heads, a divine spark, some people to wrong you just so the power of God can be flexed on them, and then, they become believers somewhere down the line, or just so people can doubt it, think the worst of you, but then, might see a light in you because you did something for them nobody else did, and it changed them overnight. Trust me, I've seen it over and over and time again. Man, I'm telling you, it's strange. You ever heard the saying, God works in mysterious ways? These works, but his true light workers know these works, and we see them unfolding in real time, while people just getting testimonies of them. Like, come on now. But I'm gonna end it there. No, let me finish this. I conjure ye new apostates from God, by him whom alone hath performed great wonders, by the heavenly Jerusalem, and by the most holy name God in 4 letters, and by him whom enlighteneth all things and shineth upon all things, by the venerable and inevitable name Ahaya Ashar Ahaya, which means I am that I am, that ye come immediately to execute our desire, whatever it may be. Come on now. Whatever it may be. This is what's really going on here.